we're going to make a bracelet. Yeah, we are. We're going to make a bracelet. Here are two bracelets that I've made. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet here. Simply for the fact is you can see how I've used different colours in this one, but because they're drab colours, you can't see them as clearly as when we're doing this one. And what I will do is I'll show you the process of attaching to the shackle and the adjustable clip on each end, and also at the end of the video I'll put links in to anything I describe that will help you in making this bracelet. So links at the end with regards to the attachments, and also I'll give you a link as to a young girl who makes these nameplate type things. This is one I've got which has got coordinates stamped in it, but she will actually stamp anything into the nameplates. You can get bigger nameplates. The link will be at the end for you. So let's shut up talking and let's get on and show you how to make this particular paracord bracelet. Right, so now that geezer at the beginning has stopped talking and cackling away, let's go on to what we're actually going to use. First thing I'm going to use is, or one of the tools I'm going to use is my trusty knife here. I've also got a tape measure, just a very cheap and simple tape measure. Here is the little metal plaque that I'm going to put onto the lanyard as well. So it's just got some coordinates on it, which is going to be added to the lanyard. The next thing I've got is this particular shackle, and I don't know what the other end is, clip of some kind, which I will put a link on at the with all this stuff. At the end of the video, I will put a link on where to get it from. So don't worry about that. Also, sizes and lengths of cordage used will also be at the end of the video. So I've got one of these clips. I've just got my fid or pull through, or sort of grip fid as this one's called. You don't need a grip fid. It just happens to be a tool that I once got and I really love it. I've got a cutting board. So obvious answer is that. And then in this particular case, what I've done is I've chosen 3 different colours. And the only reason that I've chosen these 3 colours is that I think they are going to stand out against each other. Right, so let's get on and actually start with knotting. Right, so what I've done is I've calculated how much of the first colour I'm going to need. Don't forget, it will be at the end of the video on how to calculate your sizes, etc. And once I've cut them, all I'm going to do is just melt the ends, simply for the fact is, it's habit. You don't need to, but I just like to do it. It's nice to have proper welded ends on your paracord. Okay, so now that I've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this around my shackle. And so let's get it. So I'm going to center it first. So center your cord like so, center it, and then fine. So we got the 2 ends together, just pull it through your fingers like so, and then center. It's now centered at the end here. Now that I've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm basically going to pass it through my shackle like so, form a little bit of a loop on that side there, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the 2 ends through there and lock it off. So pass the 2 ends through, just pull it all through, just get any twists in it out of it, and then pull it up nice and tight. And that's the first part of our bracelet done. That was the easy bit. Okay, it's all easy actually. This out of all the bracelets to make, this is probably the easiest off the lot. And the first part will be, in a sense, its own bracelet, and we're just going to enhance on that. Right, so then now that we've done that, the next thing I've got to do is I have got to attach this end to the other end, if you see what I mean. So I'm now going to pass my leads through. So I've got this here. I'm basically going to pass one lead through one side like so, and this is where it gets slightly tricky. I have to pass the other lead through the opposite side. And there we go. I've got the two leads going through, and as I pull up on those, I can now get my bracelet to the right length. And to get it to the right length, you measure your wrist and then add an inch, perhaps just a little bit more than an inch. I've got one on at the moment, and I would say the inch makes it a tight. But on this, you see here, the beauty of this one here is that I have got 3 notches or 3 holes here through which I can pass my shackle. So I can adjust it to 3 different sizes. So in that sense, if you're slightly oversized in your measurements, you can actually pull it up tighter. And you will find that as you wear the bracelet, it will adjust slightly in size as well. Okay, so what I've done is I have now put my cord through here, and all I've got to do next is, if I can actually get it through, that's it, is center it and then pull it up to the length that we require. Right, so what I've done is I've placed my cord onto my bracelet like so, and the distance that I've got here is, I have got, in old money, I've got 8 inches or 20 centimeters. And what I've basically done is I've measured around my wrist and then added an inch. And an inch is approximately 25 or 2.5 centimeters. Okay, so that's what I've done is I've measured around my wrist and then I've added a bit of extra for the bulk that we're going to create in our bracelet here. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to start doing a Portuguese Sennit down the length of our cord here. Now this is also known as the Cobra stitch, and if we go over it twice, it's known as the King Cobra. And I think, to be honest, it got that name because it sounded a little bit harder, or more rock hard, than a Portuguese Sennit. But my understanding is that it's a Portuguese Sennit, but yet it's also known as the Cobra stitch, and then we'll get on to the King Cobra after that. So let's start tying our Sennit. And basically all we do is, this is how I do it. I'm going to start, it doesn't matter which side you start on, makes no difference, but I'm going to start on the left hand side and I'm just going to put the leads across like so. So basically I'm forming a S shape in there like that. And then on the left hand side here, I'm going to get the left hand cord here, the working end of the left hand cord, and I'm going to pass it down through that gap there, behind the 2 leads coming down there, and then I'm going to bring it up through that loop there. And don't worry, if you didn't catch it this time, we're going to do it again anyway. And so basically that's what I've done. And then I'm just going to pull that through, pull the excess through, keep the twists out of it because we always want it to look nice and neat. And the first one doesn't look quite right, but don't worry about it. It will sort itself out as we go along. And so there we go. I've put that in there and there's my first stitch in there. Okay, and then pull that up nice and tight. Keep it nice and square and even. And there we go. Okay, so that's my first stitch there. So we're now going to go on and do the next one. And the next, where we did the loop on the right hand side, we're now going to do it on the left hand side. So we form our S shape like that with the left hand side, and then with the right hand lead now we're going to go down through that hole there and underneath these 2 here. So we're going down through that loop there, underneath these 2 here, and then we're coming up through that loop there. And just bring it up, and that's all we're doing all the way along. Bring it up like so and pull up nice and tight. Okay, and then really pull this up tight because you want a nice tight firm Sennit as you work your way down. So we did a loop on the left hand side, we now do a loop on the right hand side. So basically that shape, then go along and bring the working end of this lead here underneath everything, out through the hole, and then just pull it up tight, like so. And you can see here now, instantly, within just a couple of goes, we've now started to form a nice pattern there. So, we had a loop on the right hand side, so we create a loop on the left hand side, like so. Take the end, so we've got our S shape, take the right hand lead, and we pass it underneath everything, up through there, and pull. Like so. Pull it up nice and tight, and there you go. You get the picture. Okay? Right, save wasting time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit more, and then I'm going to come back and just show you a couple more times what we're doing, but you'll then see that I've done quite a large section of this. So I'll see you again. Well, for you it'll be instantly, for me it'll be a few minutes. See you later. Right, so I've been away a little while, watched a bit of TV as I did it, and I've got this far. So I'm almost at the end of my bracelet here. And so just to finish off, let's just go through what we've got to do again. So the last one I did was put a loop on that side, so I'm going to put a loop on this side, and let's just do it. So there's my loop there, and I'm going to take this one down underneath everything and bring it up through that loop and catch it there. Just gets a little bit fiddlier as you're getting towards the end, and then pull it up tight. Then we had the loop on one side, so we're now going to put the loop on the opposite side to what we had before. And once again, take it down underneath everything, back up through the hole like so, and we're now at that point there. So there we have it. In a sense, we've now created a bracelet as such. If you just want a single or a single Portuguese Sennit, then you've got your bracelet made there now. If that's all you want, you can just then wear that. But because I'm going to double up on this one, I'm going to just finish it off and tuck it in nice and neatly, because we're going to go over it now with a different colour. So what I'm going to do is I think I'll put one last stitch in here, and then we are done. So let's form the loop again, form our little loop. We take our working end from the left hand side this time, underneath everything, bring it up through the loop that we've created on the right hand side. It's getting fiddly because it's towards the end, and then just gently tease it over our initial knot, and there we go. We've now done, pull it up nice and tight, we've now done the full length. Okay, now that we've done that, a lot of people would cut it off at this point here and this point here and just melt it with the lighter. Now, I'm not really a great fan of that because it does show as you can see it. And what I would normally do is basically tuck my leads in on the underside of my bracelet. But in this particular case, because we're putting another colour over the top of it, I'm not too worried about that. So I am going to cut it off and weld it at both those points there so that it doesn't come undone. But it shouldn't come undone anyway, because we're going to do another layer over the top of this. We're going to do our King Cobra. So here we've got the basic Cobra or the Portuguese Sennit. We're then going to go, when we go over a second time, we end up with a fatter, because I think basically the weave looks like the front end of a Cobra. Okay, so let's just get on and cut those bits out. So you need to leave a little bit, because when you burn it, it's going to melt back and form a plug and seal. But the trouble is, if you get it wrong, it can look fairly ugly where you do it. And I'll show you in a second where I've done it, and then just give yourself a little bit There. Okay, so I've cut those, and what I'm going to do is just gently bring the heat up to it, like so. Squash it down. Yeah, you'll burn your fingers. I'm always burning my fingers. Until you can use the end of your knife as well, just to put your knife on there and flatten it. Some people like to put a texture in it, and something like a thimble will give you a texture when you melt the cords. There we go. Then spread it over. There we go. Okay, and that should lock in place. But the issue here is, I mean, you can see instantly here that the issue is, because I haven't tucked it in, we can see the core. You could cut it back a bit so the core doesn't show, but in this particular case, I'm not too worried. But we've now created a bracelet. That in itself, on its own, is a bracelet, but we're going to make it a little bit more decorative. So I'll just prepare the next bit and see you again in a second. Right, so as you can see here, I've now got this is going to be my decorative layer. I've cut my blue layer to length, and this is going to be the next layer of the Portuguese Sennit going over the top, or if you want to be rock hard about it, the King Cobra. Okay, now I've also got myself a shorter length, and this is going to be a decorative length of pink that's going to interweave when I do the Cobra stitch over the top. Even I'm calling it the Cobra now, the Portuguese Sennit. And basically I've cut it oversize, and you'll see why in a second, just a little bit over the length of the complete bracelet itself. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the innards out of it, because I don't want all that thickness in it. So pull the innards out, and basically just grab hold of the innards, pull them out, and there they are. There's all your innards from your paracord. Throw that away, you don't need it. And let's now set it up for the weave. So the first thing I'm going to do is, well, let's just melt the ends. Keep a habit of melting the ends. Melt the ends so it doesn't fray all the way. And it just makes it a bit easier sometimes to grip hold of something that's been melted as opposed to just frayed ends. Right, so now with my bracelet, this is the top of my bracelet. This is the bit that's going to show. And what we're going to do eventually is we're going to put that nameplate, or in this particular case, coordinates, onto the top of the bracelet. So that's going to be woven in shortly. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that we can actually start our weave. And the first thing is I'm going to create a hole. Oops, my fid's falling to bits here. I'm going to create a hole in here, just there, between my two cords. So I've put a gap in there, and the next thing I'm going to do is just pull my cord through, and like so, and just have a bit pulled through like that. Just give it a bit, because we're going to eventually tuck that underneath as we do the stitching, and there we have it. So that's the beginning now. So now that we've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself up to do the Portuguese Sennit down here again over the top. So just lay that out. Don't worry about it too much at the moment. And I've taken my blue cord here, I've measured that to length, and the next thing I'm going to do is center it. So center my cord. So just center it like so. And then where it's centered, put it round the back where we're going to start on there. Whoops. Okay, and it's exactly the same again. We're going to tie exactly the same knot going down, and just put them out the way and separate them a bit. And so we're going to take the first, doesn't matter when we're starting, doesn't matter which side we're starting from. I'm going to start the left side, and we're going to form our S shape. So tuck in the bit at the back, form our S shape like so. Take the working end, whoops, take the working end of the right hand one, take it down through there, underneath everything, and up through that loop on the left hand side. And of course it's not playing with me. There we go. Pull it through like so, and then just take it in that groove that we've created there. And so there we go, first one in. That's the first one done. And as we're doing it on the back, we're going to make sure that each time it goes over this, and that will lock our pink one into place. So let's do another one. So the loop was, let's see, on the right hand side. So we want the loop going from the left hand side this time, and basically go down underneath everything, including the pink one at the back, and then bring it up the front like so. And then once it's on, pull it up nice and tight. Just pull it up nice and tight. Just make sure it's in position. That's it. And then we do the same again, but this time form a loop on that side. Bring the left hand one down underneath, down through the loop we've created there, down underneath everything and out through that loop there like so, and just pull it through. And you can grab the other one and just pull it up and get any twists in it out of it. That's it. All the kinks out. We want it nice and we want it to look nice. There we go. Pull that, and then pull it up nice and tight. Okay. What we want to do also is, on the back side, just make sure that this one is being covered all the time. Right, now, we've got a choice here now. We can, if we want to, this is where your artistic side comes in. We can, if you want to, let's see, just pull that up tight. We can now weave this, however we can go over one, over two, under two. Let's try over two, under two. So I'm going to do two now, where this is going to go over. So I'm going to take the left hand one, form my loops like so, and then go down through that loop there, up through the other one, and then pull it all up nice and tight. And you'll see the effect that we're creating in a second. Pull it up nice and tight, like so. Make sure the back, once again, make sure the pink one at the back has gone underneath, because that's going to lock it all into place. And so I said I'm going to do two, so I need to do another one. So basically, form a loop here, like so. Bring this one down, underneath everything, and out through that loop on the right hand side there, like so. There we go. Okay. Take all the twists out of it. We don't want any twists in it. And pull it up nice and tight. Now, we've done two there. So with the next one, we're going to cover the pink one. So, let's see, which side are we on? We're doing this side now. So, form a loop there. Bring this one underneath everything, like so, and up through that loop there. Make sure the pink one at the back is always underneath, so we'll check that in a second. So check the back, yep, pink one's still underneath. But you can see here now, we're starting to get a nice pattern where the base colour, which is the dark pink, or red, don't know what it looks like on your screen, is showing in the background. And then the lighter pink is being woven in between. We could have used yellow, but I didn't have yellow, so there you go, that's why. Okay, and then just make sure it's nicely in the centre, pull it up tight, and then we're going to do another stitch over the top of that one. So, there's our loop there. Left hand one now goes underneath everything and out through that loop. Like so. Like so. And then pull it up tight. Okay. And then, so that's gone under 2 again, over 2, under 2, pull it back out of the way, and let's do some more stitches. So make a loop like so, bring the left hand one underneath everything, and up through like so. Don't forget, check the back, make sure the pink one is always underneath, take any wrinkles out, and then pull it up nice and tight. There we go. Pull it up nice and tight like so. Check the back. Yeah, back's there, but that can be squared off as well. It's always nice to have the back neat as well as the front. And then just repeat this pattern until you get to the point where you want to put your little plaque. Okay, so the plaque wants to be in the middle, so it looks like I've got to do just a couple more. So I'll work up until we get to the plaque, and then I'll show you how I put the plaque in. Okay, so I'll see you again in a second. Right, so I've taken my Portuguese Sennit down this far, and I think now at this point where I have got this little nameplate, I want to think about attaching it and just measure it out, check it's in the middle, you know, the usual routine just to make sure it looks smart. I mean, I've got a total of 8 inches of cord, and so halfway is 4 inches, so that takes it at that point there. So yeah, that's where I want to come up and then put my little nameplate. So what I'm going to do now is, my cord is coming up here like so. I'm going to get it and pass it through my nameplate like so. And also with regards to these nameplates, if you want to get these, they are hand stamped, these ones. I will put a link into the video just to show you where you can get these from. And there you go. That is now going to go in at that point there. So we lock that off nice and tight. And then underneath, we're going to lock it in place again by doing our stitch across there. So let's go and do our stitch across there. So first thing I want to do is take the left hand one. Oh no, sorry, other way. That was the last one I did. Take this one, form my loop there, pass the working end down underneath everything and through like so. And then that will lock our plate in. Whoops, I've just gone a tad too far. That will lock the plate in. Doesn't matter if it's a bit loose to start with. And then just pull on that tight, and then that will lock in place. And we can pull that up tighter in a bit. But you can see here now, I mean, that could be regimental colours in there. I'm not sure there's any pink and blue regiments, but you can see what we're getting on here. You know, so regimental colours here, or any colour that suits you. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to carry on and make that, and you can see here at the back here, we've locked this in place, and that can be cut off. And that's not going to go anywhere, simply for the fact is all those stitches there are holding it down. So I'm going to carry on and do that. So let's just show you one more time, and then I'll work my way down. So there's my plaque there. I'm now going to form the loop from this side, like so. Oh no, other side. Oh, I always get this wrong. Form it from that side, and when you do it wrong, you will know instantly when you look at it. So just be careful when you're doing it, and it's just the usual routine of doing that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is put my plaque on there like that, pull out any excess. That is now firmly held in place, and I can go ahead and carry on stitching. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to once again do some more stitching, and then I'll show you how to finish that off. So as you can see, I've carried on my stitch underneath, and now I'm at the point again where my little plaque here, I can come up with the pink to lock that into place. So all I'm going to do now is feed that up through. Mind you, having said that, it's easier said than done. There it goes. Feed it up through. And you can see why we gutted it now. It just makes everything a little bit easier and keeps it a little bit flatter. And so now that we've done that, we're going to need to lock that into place with our cord. And so once again, I am going to let's see, which side are we on? This side. So I'm going to take that across, bring that underneath, underneath everything, and through like so. And that will then lock it into place like so. There we go. And so I then carry on, just pull it up nice and tight. First one will sort of loosen up a bit, and you can see here now I've gone under one, so I need to go over two, so I'm going to pull that back out of the way like so. And once again, let's see, whoops, so we're going down there, underneath everything, out through that loop for two, because we want it over, we want the pink to go over for two. There we go. And then just center it, make sure, pull it centered, that's it. And then we do another one, because obviously it's going over two. So another one like so, underneath and over like so. And then just pull that up tight. Make sure everything's central on it, just check it out, because you want it nice and neat, because you're going to give it to someone more often than not. And so there we go, we've gone over two again, and then it's going to go under two again. So what I'll do is I'll carry on till I get it to the end, and then I'll show you what I'm doing next. Right, so at this point here you can see now that I've basically followed the same pattern at that end, over two, under two, over two, etc, etc. And now I'm coming to this end here. I think I need to now consider tucking this pink one down underneath. So all I'm going to do is put a hole in that point there with my grip fid, pass my pink down through like so, and then as I do my stitching, once again I'm going to lock it just at this point here onwards at the back. And so what I'm going to do now is just carry on with my stitching, my Portuguese Sennit as such. And so which side is it this time? It is, let's see, that side. So that side, under and pull through like so, under like that, pull through, and then once again under everything through that gap we've created there and pull it through like so. And we've locked it in the back now as well. Just check it all over, make sure it's nice and central. So we've got a nice central colour going up there, and I think I'm going to get one more in there, and then I'm going to start tucking those in. So let's see, take it under, okay. Right, so we've almost completed now. You can see here now, look how much blue I've got left from that long length that I had. And basically the calculation that I work on is you're using approximately 1 foot for every inch travelled along here. So you can see my calculations were fairly precise. It doesn't really leave me much left over to work with. But if you're worried about it ever, just add some more. It's always better to have too much than too little. Right, so now we're at this point here, I need to start neatening things up a bit. So first thing I need to do is just cut off these two scraggly ends here. And so let's just cut those off. Let's see, let's have a look. Cut them off. You've got to be careful you don't cut your fingers. Never cut towards yourself, as they say. And then cut this one off also. Now, when you're finishing this bracelet, if you want to, I use a finishing solution, and I'll put a link into the finishing solution at the end as well. It just protects it a little bit, and also locks all the stitching into place, etc. And then just go through and square up everything so that it's nice, neat, straight line running down here, and you can see the effect that we're starting to get here. It's a nice, chunky but good looking bracelet. The other thing is, when you get these plaques here, from the girl that I order them from, she asks you if you want them bending into shape or not, because normally these are used on trainer laces going across the trainers, and I said to her, I said, no, don't bend them, because what I will do is I will bend it later on to the shape of my wrist. And you can see here now that I will gradually put a bend in there just to shape it so that it can go around my wrist properly. Right, so the final thing, I think this is the final thing that we've got to do is basically, I hate, like I said, I hate cutting off my leads and melting them. I would rather tuck them in. And so with my grip fid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them underneath a few of these bits of stitching here, and it's quite difficult to do because you've done it tight, but you should be able to get something through there and get your end there and pull it through. Pull it through, twist it. Oh, I haven't done it deep enough. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I will work up there and bury it all under there. And then once again, for the other stitch, take it through the first one just so it locks in place, and then you can mess about with it a bit more. There we go. And then pull up on that because that will have loosened it slightly. And then I'm going to work my way up. So what I'll do is I will work my way up the back, tucking it in, and then I'll come back to you in a second on that one. Right, so there you have it. I've tucked it in under over here just to lock it into place on the back. The next thing I will do is I will coat some of the areas with my finishing solution, and like I said, my finishing solution will be at the end of the video, and all it does is protects and locks your work in place so that you don't come undone later on. But as you can see here, we've created a nice decorative effect, and we've made our bracelet. I mean, oh, there's my bracelet. This is another one I made. The only reason I didn't use these colours was they're harder to see. As you can see, they're harder to see. But basically in there I have got blue for the sea, grey for the navy, and then purple because I was an engineer in the navy. And that's the reason I chose those colours there. But in this particular case, I chose slightly gaudier colours, just so that you could see the different effects coming through. For me, I'm happy with this one. It's understated, it does its job, it has the coordinates on, which is what I wanted. And so that's how you tie your paracord bracelet as such. And it's a very, very simple one to do. We've just made it a little bit more decorative as we go along. You could also, if you wanted to, get some thinner paracord and weave it in amongst here as well. A lot of people do that. You know, the choices are completely up to yours. But like I said, I'll leave a link for all the stuff that I've done in here, and I'll put all the information that you require at the end of this video. So it just leaves me to say, once again, many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please share it. I mean, it would also be helpful if you could just put a little, hey, is that it? Thumbs up for me. If it's thumbs down, I'm going to come and get you. No, I won't. And also, please do leave a comment. If there's anything you want to see, anything you don't like, leave a comment, because I'm always open for comments, good or bad, so that I can actually produce better results in the future so that everybody can benefit from it. So there you go. We have, in effect, made a fairly chunky bracelet using the Portuguese Sennit, or as we like to say, we've used a Cobra stitch and a King Cobra stitch because we are rock hard. Okay, well, once again, thanks for watching. Catch you soon. Bye bye.